All right, Jeff Copper, welcome to TEFOS. So a parent walks up to you and they say, Jeff, I keep hearing about this thing called executive function. What the heck is this?
I get that actually a lot from parents and adults. It's referenced a lot, but what executive function are? It is a collection of mind tools that we use to solve problems. I'm a big fan of Dr. Russell Barkley. I like his model because he actually defines them. There's self-awareness, emotional self-regulation, self-restraint, visual imagery, nonverbal working memory, and playing with information in your mind towards a goal. And it's important to understand is like if you're going to build anything, you go out in your garage and there's a bunch of tools. You use those tools individually and collectively to construct a bench or whatever. People with ADHD use those mind tools to solve problems. The key really is when we're talking about executive functions with people with ADHD is they're impaired. They're not functioning as optimally as somebody as like a neurotypical. And one of the things that I do, I've actually developed a program called Cognitive Ergonomics from the Insight, which is a different approach. But a lot of times there's a lot of behavioral training trying to get people to change their behavior or get their brain to conform to a methodology to get to an outcome. I always emphasize let's accommodate the process of thinking so that the person can get to an outcome. It's like ergonomics and industrial engineering is you're adjusting the job to fit the user, like different size chairs that can make adjustments. The idea is if we can begin to accommodate the different executive functions to enable somebody to get there their own way is there. So for example, nonverbal working memory is part of it of executive functions. It's basically self-talk. We're always talking to ourselves to kind of get to where we want to go. Because it's impaired, many people with ADHD, they talk out loud a lot. Many times that even they're told they talk too much. But if you understand that is an impairment and you say, I need to allow this person to talk through this with some other people, we're accommodating the impairment of that tool and able to help people kind of get to the outcome or the goal, because we use executive functions to plan, to problem solve, et cetera. Again, we're using those to kind of get there. So basically, that's what executive functions are. I love Dr. Barker's model because when you study it, it's brilliant. It has repeatable patterns that's explained by the model. But basically, that's what we're doing. And the challenge of ADHD is they're impaired at different degrees at different points for different people. And the trick really is to understand each person's individual challenge and then try to accommodate that tool, if you will, and allow the person to use their mind in as much a natural fashion as possible.
And you're one of our speakers this year. This is Jeff at digcoaching.com, and we have a summit called TEFOS, the Executive Function Online Summit, and this is for parents and teachers. And you're one of our experts this year. What are parents going to learn from you this year at TEFOS?
Um, One of the things I'm really trying to highlight is ADHD is really more of a thinking impairment than most people realize. And I want to sit down. I want to talk. Thinking is thinking, but we use thoughts and we think in different ways. So number one, I want to contextually break that down so that you can understand when we're saying it's a thinking impairment. There's a very specific part of thinking that's it, so they understand that. Then what we want to do is we want to start talking about what I call the booting up. Most of you will call that task initiation, but it's the when you're going to sit down and do anything, you've got to get your mind boot up, much like booting up a computer, and begin to talk about what that process is and how to A, have the lens and recognize it's a part of the process. Two, to actually manage it, to realize that it's there, you got to plan for it, and then talk about what you do in order to make it easier. Because at the end of the day, to help people with ADHD is really to make thinking easier more than anything else. So we're going to talk about that one particular area so people have a little bit of insight as to what to look for and how to take a look at your kid or anybody, because everybody's a little bit different. What works for one is not necessarily going to work for somebody else. So we're going to give you the lens to try to make the observations so that you can like look, wow, something happened there, and you can maybe mirror that back to your kid so we can help them. That's the goal.
And then for parents who aren't familiar with you and they say, "Who are you? What's your job? How do you help people?" How do you respond to that?
Well, I call myself an attention coach because that's really kind of what I coach. I've been doing this since 2007. I've got a podcast. I got a YouTube channel. I coach people individually, but I also have something that I'm really excited about. I developed a new field of engineering and a new ADHD intervention called cognitive ergonomics from the inside out. There is a field of engineering called cognitive ergonomics, but it's from the outside in. The inside out, I use Dr. Barkley's model to define what to look at, and I've developed something called attention scope. It's a collection of things to bring tangibility to the intangible so that we can use a Six Sigma approach in terms of problem solving for people with ADHD. It's a great program. If a person is exceptionally emotional, will struggle with with the program's designed to focus on facts, not feelings. It's really an observational training program to help solve problems. For some people that are really emotional, it's not going to be that helpful for. But the people that are like, oh my God, that's like black and white, like logically that makes some sense. I'm really excited about it. I've used it on people I cut my coaching time by like 70%. So that's one of the things that I'm trying to get out into the world right now and actually train people on this because it's really exciting. It helps coaches, it helps therapists, helps parents, helps teachers, and helps people with ADHD.
Thanks again, Jeff. And this is Jeff at digcoaching.com. And I'm Seth with TEFOS, the Executive Function Online Summit. If you like what we're doing here, sign up, come for free, check out the Early Bird Pass or the VIP Pass here. Check out the speakers and the topics here. We would love to have you. And thanks again, Jeff. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.